Hey guys, I'm Jackie Brubaker, your host of That Girl the Podcast. I'm an author, performer, 2-time Emmy Award winner, human relationship specialist, and founder of the wellness website loveyouevenmore.com. Each week I bring on inspiring people and experts in their field to have powerful, motivational, and enlightened conversations about relationships, self-development, and how you can live your most authentic life. Follow us for daily updates on myself and the podcast at That Girl the Podcast and at Jackie Brubaker on Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, and our Patreon page. While you're at it, make sure to check out my new wellness website, loveyouevenmore.com. If you're wanting to dig into developing more self-worth, be healthier about relationships, and learn how to date smarter, go to loveyouevenmore.com and follow us on Instagram at loveyouevenmore. Hey guys, welcome to That Girl the Podcast. I am your host, Jackie Brubaker, and today I'm going to do a solo podcast on alignment. So something that I have noticed is just in my conversations with people recently is talking about alignment in their lives and why things are going great or why things are not going well at all, and they're confused by both, right? So that has just been a theme. And I'm going to take it into relationships because that's kind of where it's been bubbling up. But before we even get into relationships and alignment in relationships, let's just talk about what alignment is quickly. So my definition of alignment is when you are listening to your gut, you are listening to your facts, you are going and doing your life the way that it feels right to do it. Sometimes that can be very scary. We have to honor what we need versus what we want, versus what we are trying to achieve, we are trying to have in our lives. Sometimes we're just scared to have what we really want, so we don't do it. And that can lead you out of alignment. So the idea is that in order to live a life that is aligned, we have to be making choices that can create that alignment for us. That's also not to say that we are also living life and things are coming at us, right? We don't control anything. We just make choices and hope for the freaking best. We take all the information given, we make a choice, we hope for the best. So when things do come out of, left field and there are curveballs, and I'm not a big sports person, so that's about the end of my sports analogies. We have to kind of roll with the punches. Haha, one last one. Usually I'm really bad with sayings, but I feel like that was a really good, good roll. So when we do have these weird things that come out of nowhere, it's really easy to think, especially when we are in alignment with our lives, why? Why is this happening to me? I had a major flood in my house a couple of months ago, and it came out of nowhere. I wasn't prepared for the pipe that burst and flooded my house for 3 weeks. It was a lot of work, and I had no time to prepare. I just had to grab what I could and get out, kind of like a fire, except with water and sort of like a horror film. It really looked kind of like I was in a scary movie. And what that did for me was it would just made me question, wait, I thought I was like kind of good. Like I thought things were good. Why is this happening? And that's a big question we all ask ourselves when bad things do happen. But was it that bad? Was it that bad? Let's go on with the story. This is my favorite water analogy. So even when you think about water is actually, Sigmund Freud would be like, water is emotion, it's sexual energy, it's all of this those are the feelings that come up with water. So I think it's interesting that a pipe burst in my house right before, 2 days after I started my relationship and my romantic relationship, and it was just chaos, right? And here I am, starting this beautiful relationship with my boyfriend, and I feel so out of sorts. I do not feel like myself. I don't even have a home. I'm like a nomad going from hotel to hotel, just completely just out of my element. Things are not good. And I feel bad. And I feel like I don't even know what choices I can make right now. I don't know what I should be doing every day. It was like, where am I moving to next? I had to travel for work. It was just a mess, right? So I truly wondered about my alignment. But while this was all going on, and thankfully it is over and everything is okay, what happened was, for me, I had this really strange connection to my home. I've lived here for 15 years. It is the longest I've lived anywhere ever in my life. And it's my home. And I have felt very resistant to leaving. Even if you were to offer me a gorgeous house somewhere, I'd be like, I don't know. I kind of love my place though. I don't really want to move. And I do. I love it. But I had known for at least a couple of years or so that it was this like unhealthy attachment. And it was something that was keeping me stuck and keeping me from actually moving ahead and moving forward in my life. And so, as I'm staying in these hotels and as I'm being away, literally being pushed out of my house was like, get out, quite literally, get out. I started to realize, well, these places aren't so bad. Like, it's kind of nice to be in something that's newer or different. Like, it's kind of fun to experience a new home every 4 days, which sounds like fun. And it's not though. It's not when you're trucking around two cats and all of your stuff, living out of a suitcase like you're on tour. But it was the best moment for me to have something that I'm outgrowing, which is my apartment, finally give me a chance to get out of the alignment of that and to see that, oh, my life could look different. And I actually want that. That's something I do want. So for me, when life throws you these curveballs, it's not like, oh, what did I do wrong? Like, why do I deserve this? The whole time within the chaos of everything that was going on, because there was a lot of stuff that was happening at the same time, I just kept thinking, what are the lessons here? What am I supposed to be learning? How can I use these challenges as my solutions? How am I growing here? How am I evolving? And as I did that, it brought me even more into alignment because I released control. I relinquished control. I had no choice. And now these great solutions are starting to come through. And I am releasing my house and I am making it easier to, move forward in my life. So when we have those things, look for the solutions, look for the lessons. What is the universe trying to tell you? Sometimes it has to hit you over the head with a pipe bursting, and sometimes it just happens in a subtle way, like, hey, you should really try this thing over and over and over again until you do. Or it could just be as simple as, you know what? I think I'm going to cut my hair, or I'm going to dye my hair a totally different color. Just something to switch it up a bit, change up the energy of your life, and also perhaps give you better alignment to where you're going. Now, in romantic relationships, let's get into that with alignment. So, all right, we all know it's rough out there. It's hard to date. People don't want to commit. There's a lot of stuff going on right now. And yet at the same time, everyone's like, do the work, do the work, do the work. So like we're doing the work, but then we're like going out in the dating world and it's just like a disaster. And you're like, oh, what's the point of doing the work? These people are awful. No one's going to appreciate the work that I've done. How am I going to find my person? So I understand because I was that person. So what I have to say on that nugget of the relationship thing, there are other nuggets coming, is that do the work for you. You are the most important relationship that you will have in your entire life. It is you always. You're always in this with you, no matter what, no matter who comes in or who goes out. So yes, keep doing the work, keep growing and evolving, because your alignment in your world will continue to lead you down the right path that you're supposed to go on. You'll have the right friendships. You'll have the right relationships. And when you are in such good alignment of, I know who I am, I know what I want, I know who I'm looking for, and I know what kind of relationship I want to have, romantic or otherwise, you will call that in, and it will come in a way that you will never suspect it to come. I mean, that certainly happened with me. But just because it happened to me, it's like, you know, I'm my own person and everything's happening the way it's supposed to in this world, in this, you know, dimension. But it really does happen when you least expect it and in a way that you never would have expected it. So if you're sitting here and you're like, I am so done with dating, I am so done with the dating apps, I just don't want to do this anymore, then don't, because that is truly your gut and your heart telling you, I don't want to do this, and we shouldn't. I was literally not doing it. I was off the dating apps. I didn't really go on very much to begin with, but I was completely off. I was like, I don't care. I just don't care. Every time I go on, it's a disaster. These guys hate me. I just don't want to do this anymore. And so I didn't. So when you are single and looking, keep telling people too, this is what I'm looking for. I know my partner's coming to me. If I exist, they exist. And that is the biggest thing that I've kept in mind for me, is that I just need one person. I don't need multiple people. I've done a lot of dating and relationships. I just need one person who's right for me and I'm right for them. So say it, manifest it, write about it, you know, write a letter of, you know, the love list, do the love list of, you know, what am I looking for, and burn it or save it and read it later. But like really start getting clear on what you want so that that alignment can start coming to you. Because the more I told people, I even did this thing where I was like, you know, asking friends who, or even like semi acquaintances, like, hey, you know what? I really love your vibe. Do you have any single friends who were like you, who are sort of in the same vibe? Because I was so interested in meeting someone who was the right character for me. So here's the other part of that with the relationship thing. Okay, this might be hard for some people to hear, but if you're in a relationship and it's really hard, it's really hard. It's not, oh, we're having a rough patch. It's like always hard. And you're doing everything you can. And maybe your partner is trying to do everything that they can too. And it is just not working. This doesn't automatically mean that your partner is the bad guy and they just don't know better and you're more evolved than them. Although that could be the case, guys. I'm sorry, it could be. But let's just, for, you know, argument's sake, say that you both are good people and you just don't fit together. It is a square peg in a round hole. And the more you jam it, the worse it gets. That's not a really aligned relationship. And there is this whole stigma out there of, well, relationships are hard. Relationships take work. And I actually don't agree with that. I agree that yes, they take work, but I don't agree that they are supposed to be hard. I think that when you grow up and people tell you that and you believe it, you look for that. You settle for that. You settle for the relationship that's like, okay, well, I mean, they've got like 70% of what I want, you know? I mean, hey, relationships are work, they're hard, right? So like the other 30% is the work. That's what this is. Like, I'm so grateful that I like have them, you know? I'm going to make it work. For someone who was in that relationship and it wasn't even 70-30, it was even less than that, it's not worth it. And I do believe, and listen, this is my personal opinion. You can agree with me, you can take it, you can leave it. It's totally fine. It's not going to hurt my feelings. When you're in a relationship that is truly, really hard, and it's always been hard, guys, like maybe the honeymoon phase was fun, but after that, it just got harder and harder and harder. And it's continued to stay hard, but you're sticking it in or sticking it out or whatever so that you can keep the relationship because of fear of being alone or fear of being, well, I'm this age and I don't want to be alone again. All the good ones are taken. All of these things that we have been told that feel so real when shit is hitting the fan and we are trying to figure out about, are we breaking up or are we staying together? Am I making a choice? I'm going to tell you right now, it is better to choose singleness. It is better to get out of a relationship that is not aligned for you than it is to compromise yourself to an extent that you are so miserable and you lose yourself and it's only about in the relationship, about maintaining the relationship. It's not even about happiness anymore. It's about how can we not have a fight? How can we just keep the peace? How does this sound? Does this sound familiar to anyone? Because I bet it does. This is key, guys. This is not a happy relationship. If you are hearing this and saying, wow, that sounds just like my relationship, not a happy relationship. Now, getting out of relationships is complicated, especially if you're married or you live together, you share finances, you have children, all the things. I'm not saying like get divorced, break up, but honestly, if you're able to and you think that that's right for you, then yeah, that's something you should think about and probably do. But I'm saying that if you are in this situation and it is just pure work always, this is not an aligned relationship. When you're in an aligned relationship, it isn't hard. Things will come up, and those two people who have done the work, who are in it to win it, are like, we're going to use our tools that we have learned, and we're going to speak to each other like respected adults. And we're going to figure it out. And you do, because the love is there and the respect is there. And there's not a lot of respect happening in relationships these days. And that alone is really sad to me. We don't respect each other and we don't trust each other. The respect and the trust thing, man, that goes hand in hand. And truly, I heard this a long time ago, but if you can't trust a person, you can't really love them, not fully. Now, I don't know if that's true or not, but it feels right. If I don't really trust someone, how do I really love them fully? Maybe I can love them somewhat, but I'm always going to be in fear of either the bottom falling out or them hurting me or something. So not good. But if you are looking for a truly aligned relationship, you need to do the work on you and continue to do the work on you. You could be in beautiful alignment where the synchronicities in your life are just coming out of the woodwork. And it is like, oh my gosh, blessing after blessing after blessing. And you're like, this is amazing. And I'm still single. That's fine. It's fine. Because you're exactly where you're supposed to be. You're in the alignment that you're supposed to be in. I mean, you can always think of it this way too. My person might be getting an alignment and they're not quite aligned to me yet. So I'm just going to cool down over here and just chill out and do my thing while they wait and come get to this level, because you do need to be at the same level in order to have the relationship that is easy and it flows and there's respect and there's real unconditional love, not conditional, but unconditional love. So being in alignment, there's so many aspects we could do. We could even talk about work, but it's all the same idea, is that if you are doing the work on yourself and you are choosing choices in your life that are right for you, that in your heart, when you think about the choice, you're like, yep, that's the choice, or nope, that's not the choice. And honoring that, you will continue to fall into alignment. You will continue to be in that flow because your life will keep giving you what it needs you to have and what you need to have. I know it can sound a little heady, but it really is. If you've ever been in the flow where things are just happening so easily and they're just it's just easy, right? It's like you're driving your car, you're like, I need a parking spot. Boom, there's your parking spot. You get out, you're like, man, I hope there's a coffee place nearby. I really need a coffee. Boom, there it is. Then you get a call from your boss saying hey, you know what? Can you take off tomorrow? Okay, cool. Sure. And would you like to get paid too? Yup, I do. It's like that. It's just, you're just going with the flow of your life. And that's when your alignment is on. So how do we get our alignment off real quick to wrap this up so that, once we're like, woohoo, our alignment's on, we did it. How does it get off? So our alignment can get off when we suddenly let our ego kind of run the show. Because when you're in alignment, your ego is not running the show. Your ego is off taking a nap. It's like, well, everything seems cool, so I'm just going to go chill out over here. And your, higher self comes through and you're just like, everything's aligned. This is great. And then something happens, right? Some sort of trigger happens. And this is the test, right? And I'm not even sure if I believe in tests all the time, but let's just call it a test for argument's sake. Something happens to test you. It may have even started with good news, like you got a great new job, and then you start the job and you're like, oh, wow, this is not what I expected. I am not liking this. I don't know what I should do. Should I stay? My heart said that I should take the job, but this is not fun. I'm unhappy. I don't want to be here. I'm giving it 110% and it's still hard. I don't like the people. Yeah, these things happen, right? Those are the curveballs. And this is where our alignment gets really tested. What do you do? And I would actually just like to invite you to think about, if you have something like this, what if you were listening to a friend and you heard the story, what would you tell them to do? And answer it yourself. Would you tell them to go? Would you tell them to maybe wait a little bit longer? But if your gut knows, and it will know, even if it's a little quiet, it'll get louder and louder and louder. And the choice that you make is the choice that should be made. We don't know where that choice is going to lead, because when you're in the flow, you're going with the flow. You're allowing that choice to happen, and then it leads you to wherever you're supposed to go to next. And that's exactly what being in the flow and being in alignment is. The fun parts of alignment are all of the great synchronicities that happen, all the lucky breaks, all the happy things, all the feelings of peace and just like, yes, this is great. Even when bad stuff happens, I'm still really great. But yeah, when we have those big curveballs, it is a test of our alignment of like, well, how much faith do I have in myself and in the universe? What is the choice I'm going to make for me? And you should always, as we know, but like you should always go by your gut. If you pray about it. If you meditate about it. If you have, an ancestor that you want to talk to, like talk to them, ask their opinion, what comes through, like what, signs are you getting? What are you feeling? Not what are you seeing so much, but what are you feeling to do? And that will bring you further down your road of alignment, whether you're getting back on it or you're trying to stay on it. So I hope you enjoyed that little solo podcast on alignment. It's been a big factor in my world recently, and all I know is that when shit hits the fan, as it does, you just got to ride that wave, as my friend Heather would say. You just got to ride the wave, whether it's good or bad, and just keep following what your gut is telling you. Even if your brain is like, no, you really shouldn't do that. That's a whole other podcast of like, what does your gut mean? And I'm sure there are podcasts that you can find in the archives about that. But we will definitely do a newer gut podcast because really important topic. All right, guys, have a wonderful day. It is my birthday week. So I'm happy that I got to do a little birthday episode, even though I didn't talk about birthday. That'd be strange. But have a wonderful week, and I will see you next time. Thanks so much for listening to the podcast. Remember, sharing is caring. Make sure to rate the podcast and leave a review. We really rely on this to help get the podcast out there. Also, make sure to watch the video version on YouTube at That Girl the Podcast.